Students and teachers returning to classrooms after a year of virtual learning. Some are looking forward to in-person learning.
Interacting with my friends and gym.
I'm actually really excited to see people more energetic.
But uncertainty remains.
I think every child is different. So for some, it might be like a full-blown tantrum and just really struggling to adjust, to come in and sit down in their desk.
Candid conversations with students, parents, teachers. Let's talk about navigating the new school year on Let's Talk Cincy.
From WLWT, this is Let's Talk Cincy, presented by Western and Southern Financial Group. Put our financial strength behind you.
The late educator, Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, said our children must never lose their zeal for building a better world. One part of that foundation to building that better world, which is schools, faced its biggest test in a century. Hello, everyone. I'm Curtis Fuller, and welcome to Let's Talk Cincy. There are many questions facing students, parents, and teachers as this pandemic stretches into another school year. Last year, some schools turned to virtual learning, while others were in person with social distancing and wearing masks. And even with the vaccine, schools are still considering how much this year will look like last year. Now, normally this time of year, parents would be getting school supplies and making sure their child is prepared academically. But since the start of this pandemic, navigating through a school year is much more difficult. Lacey Roberts shares a unique perspective about two people experiencing both sides of this challenging issue.
Whether you're a parent or a teacher, mapping out this school year seems a little tricky. Being ready for change is the only thing you are sure of. I spoke with a special education and a visual arts teacher about how their experiences as educators and parents will help shape this year.
I think the same concern that I bring as a mother is the same concern that I bring as an educator, because I love these babies like they're my own, and they are. I have like 400 plus kids at any given time, and I realize that if this means them going home safely to their parents, I don't mind being uncomfortable for 8+ hours a day.
We have to balance the academics that the state standards are saying, you have to teach this and they have to master this. But at the same time, as a person and as a parent, I know if we don't have this, their mental health in check, and if we don't have their safety in check, this doesn't matter. I know, the big tagline is it's okay to not be okay, and I say that all the time as well, but then what?
As a parent, it's important for me to remember to make sure that my kids are keeping space, that they're still able to interact with their peers, that they're still able to have those relationships and build them, but that they're actually taking care of themselves at the same time and looking out for their friends as well. So that game of tag, actually, it's a little scarier in my mind as a parent, and seeing students so often pull down their mask makes me realize that my children are probably going to do the same thing.
I think it's important kids stay involved. I think it's important kids still socialize, but I think we also need to empower them and listen to them and talk about where do you want to spend your time? What do you want to do?
I absolutely love the vehicle of art to help you understand, express, identify your emotions, your cares, your concerns, the underlying things that you don't even think about being an issue, and realizing that I have the capacity to equip my students and my own children with coping mechanisms.
I think as adults we need to relearn those skills too. So it's not just the kids. So they learn from us. So I think we need to model, as adults, we need to model for the kids how to do that. They would place their name and then they would go on to their homeroom, unpack, do their morning work, and I could visually see where they were. They would have this to be able to communicate with their teachers or their peers, hey, I'm here right now. And so then that would alert the teacher on how to approach them.
Honestly, as being a caregiver for someone who is immune deficient, my mom had cancer, and it wasn't until she passed that I felt comfortable going into the classroom. But there are so many families that have medically fragile students and medically fragile parents that they're going back home to, and people don't realize that. So it really is a risk. We're putting ourselves at risk to make sure that our students are continuing to grow and thrive and learn, but at the same time, we've got to protect ourselves and those that we care about the most.
Now, hearing these perspectives, we can agree that everyone has challenges. As we weigh the facts, this pandemic has forced tough decisions to be made. This is an historic moment, and we are all in this together. I'm Lacey Roberts.
A recent survey by a tech company showed the #1 priority for teachers is student engagement. Also, hybrid teaching and learning here to stay. Technology is essential in keeping teachers, students, and parents connected, and access is critical to achieving equity in education. Up next.
You need to find a way to get a hold of them, still make sure they're getting their education.
Reflecting on a school year like none other, the teachers who went above and beyond to help your child learn last year. That story is still ahead on Let's Talk Cincy. There's been a lot of talk about children, teachers, and staff wearing masks in school. The CDC recommends it, even for folks who are fully vaccinated.
Issuing this guidance will allow school districts to have the flexibility and support they need to provide access to in-person learning 5 days a week. As students prepare to head back to school, we are building upon the layered prevention strategies that were remarkably effective at controlling COVID-19 last school year.
That parents and caregivers can just talk to their kids about it calmly and confidently. Oh, we're going to have to do this again. Not a big deal. You did it last year. And again, I've said many times, kids have impressed me so much with their flexibility and their ability to wear masks and not make a big deal about it.
So mostly I think that in-person learning and schools provide a safe, supervised environment for children to grow and thrive. And that's where the importance of going back to school in person is.
Those who aren't yet vaccinated are encouraged to wear a mask in indoor spaces and outdoors in crowded spaces and when social distancing simply isn't possible.
The reason is that masks will not only keep kids healthy, kids who can't be vaccinated and therefore at risk, but it will keep the people in their lives who might not be able to be vaccinated or who've chosen not to be vaccinated or for who the vaccine is not efficacious, it will keep them healthy as well.
While there are no mandates associated with this guidance, we believe that the recommendations we are issuing are essential to the health of Ohio's youth and the success of the coming school year.
Social distancing and hand washing are also a part of the CDC's back-to-school recommendations. The organization says it's a layered safety plan designed to keep students safe. Well, up next, helping your child readjust to being back in the classroom, how you can support the transition when Let's Talk Cincy continues. Welcome back. The emotional toll this pandemic has had on our educators is profound. Everything they knew about their jobs changed overnight. As Helena Battipaglia tells us, teachers continue to struggle getting kids up to speed following a year of limited personal contact.
The abrupt end to the school year, the celebrations and send-offs that never happened.
There's just magic that you get when you get to the end of the school year. And we didn't get to see that last year, so I'm sorry. Hold on a minute.
Karen Keeling fights back tears thinking about that first day Ohio schools were shuttered. No hugs, no goodbyes, only unknowns.
You can't get that back when it's over, so that was the hardest part.
Learning got harder as it continued at home.
And personally, I felt like I wasn't a teacher. It was like, I'm not teaching. I'm putting assignments on, I'm meeting with kids if they need help, I'm emailing parents, I'm calling parents, but I'm not teaching.
Renee Bush sent videos like this to students, hoping to maintain that personal connection.
Hey everyone, how are you? I want you to know that I miss you. I wish you well. I hope everyone is safe and healthy.
Like many districts, teachers in North College Hill offer emotional and structural support some students can't get at home. Bush wasn't ready to give up that role. She visited kids and dropped off school supplies.
I went to daycares and delivered the goods, the bags to them too, so they had them for schoolwork. So they knew when it was time to come on, they had to have their bag with them.
Some students never logged on at all. Others faced difficulties.
They wanted to get on for that semblance of normalcy. And I did wonder once the screen turned off, like what was going on.
About half of NCH students come from single-parent homes. 86% of families are economically disadvantaged. Internet access scattered or non-existent for many.
If they didn't have their headphones on, or the parents had the kids all kind of sitting together, and it's loud, but I could hear the high school teachers teaching about social studies and algebra while I'm sitting here teaching these kids how to sound out words.
Johnny Johnson remembers what that's like.
Sometimes my brother be talking while I'm in the class, and then my mama reminds him.
This is Keeling's view of him reading remotely.
They should eat it. They should not eat it. Sometimes I don't like reading because it's a little bit hard for me.
It is hard to think, like, I worked as hard as I can, but they're not where I want them to be.
In a recent survey of nearly 1,000 K-12 teachers, more than 97% reported loss of learning by students when compared to previous years. 57% believe students are behind by months' worth of social and emotional learning.
And I kept saying to myself, and I kept talking to my instructional coaches, I'm like, they are so far behind.
So, where do we go from here?
I guess one of the biggest things is flexibility is key. You've got to be able to move things and change things around.
Bush says it's one of the most important lessons she has learned amid chaos and frustration, focusing on what the child needs and hoping the rest will follow.
So making that family relationship, making the connections, making that you really care about them, you understand that they have feelings, that it's okay to be sad. I get sad, but how can we do this? I understand that. Take a breath with me.
Both teachers acknowledging the long road of catch up ahead, but at least they get to do it here in the classroom.
I'm so lucky. I mean, I'm lucky to have a job that makes me sad not to be here. So.
Again, that was Helena Battipaglia reporting for us. Now let's talk about mental health. It's been an important topic of discussion since the start of the pandemic, and here's why. Just consider this. According to the CDC, more than 1 in 3 high school students experience persistent feelings of sadness or hopelessness in 2019. That is a 40% increase since 2009. And 1 in 6 teenagers made a suicide plan in 2019, up 44% from 2009. Lacey Roberts spoke with a therapist about how students and parents can navigate staying healthy this school year.
Believing in what your children are going through is the first step therapists say will lead to better communication and more consistent behavior. As adults, getting through difficult times often takes a toll both physically and mentally. Now think about that for your child. I spoke with a holistic therapist who says taking care of our mental health is only the beginning to navigating change.
Kids are nervous, like they have not had a real school year in a while. And even still, like, are there going to be masks? Well, they're not. There's still a lot of unknowns about this school year. And I think it's important that we normalize feeling nervousness or fear or anxiety or all those emotions for our children, especially in younger kids. Their primary language is play. You're not going to have a 3-year-old come up to you and say, hey, I'm feeling really anxious today. That's not how they communicate. I think the first step when you notice anything is just to validate, even when things don't feel like a big, issue for us, they can feel really big for these little people. And so I think making them feel like their emotions are normal, and educating them on how they can communicate with you, who are safe people that they can talk to within your school, daycare, home, wherever they may be, and giving them, those resources to calm down. It's so important to work with everyone. If I have a 5-year-old in there with me, I can teach them skills and skills and skills all day. But if I'm not teaching the parent, how am I, that's a lot of pressure to expect a 5-year-old to implement that at home. So I think engagement across the board for the family is so important. I preach consistency all the time. I can't have, mom expecting one thing and dad expecting another. Like, we all have to be on the same page, and have at least, a common understanding of this is the plan. If your child begins to become dysregulated, this is what we're going to do. This is the skills that they know that you can reinforce. Developmentally, kids go from their main focus being their family to when they go to school, it becomes their friends. So when you're not able to interact with your friends, or maybe you get 5 minutes before class starts over a computer, we're really taking away that social aspect. Do check-ins. I mean, you can even say, like, how are you feeling today? What emotions did you feel today? Normalizing the talk of mental health is only going to increase, the ability for sharing within your household so that you better understand it's okay to feel negative emotions. And I think sometimes we kind of put on kids, well, you should be happy, you're a kid. And that's just not realistic. We all have mental health. That's something we all have, just like we all have physical health. Now, we all might not have good mental health. So it's kind of understanding, okay, what does your mental health look like? What does your child's mental health look like? What are indicators that you feel like maybe their mental health isn't as good as it used to be, or as you feel like it should be?
Mullen also says, remember, every child is different. She says the true backbone of change comes with consistency at home and learning what works best for your household. Lacey Roberts reporting for Let's Talk Cincy.
And having resources to help connect the dots is always helpful. While some schools have mental health counselors, some do not. One resource is the Psychiatric Intake Response Center, located within Cincinnati Children's Hospital. The center is staffed 24 hours and can be reached at area code 513-636-4124. We'll give you that number again at the end of our show.
Well, there's definitely more anxious days than others, but I was fortunate enough to get a therapist right at the start of the pandemic, which has helped both me and my siblings out massively.
Hearing from our students what they are saying about the new school year. We want to hear from you. Email us your ideas. The address is ltc@wlwt.com. And remember, you can always watch full episodes or get more information on wlwt.com/Let's Talk Cincy. You can also listen to Let's Talk Cincy on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Well, finally today, as the parent of a high school student, I am very much aware of the impact this pandemic has had on my daughter, Faith, and other children. At times I feel helpless because I don't have all the answers. These precious moments of their youth can never be reclaimed. They are gone forever. But what I have also witnessed is a resilient generation of young people. When you talk to them, you realize they are determined to push through the pressures of this pandemic.
I think that just focusing on, that I'm with my family and that I have my health.
7 days until I start school, it's definitely a bit of an anxiety inducer, but I'm also really excited just to see everybody and be able to kind of have that high school, I'm busy doing homework experience.
Well, there's definitely more anxious days than others, but I was fortunate enough to get a therapist right at the start of the pandemic, which has helped both me and my siblings out massively.
My dad was positive for one, and we stayed home for 2 weeks, and I was like falling behind on everything after that. And like lots of paperwork and everything.
But you're looking forward to going back?
Yes.
I'm actually really excited to see people like more energetic and happy that I can see people actually get to know them better.
I hope there's no masks, so then there's more, opportunities to do more stuff. And I'm gonna be the biggest kids in the school because it's an elementary school, so that's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, last year was a little rough. Yeah, and I guess a lot of me and my friends had hoped that this semester would be better, and I think it's gonna be a little more normal, but I know we're gonna have to wear masks again, and I know that's a little upsetting. And
I'm fortunate in that my friends and I, we all kind of have the mindset of this is temporary, and we'll get through it. But there are some people I know that maybe look at this all and sort of focus on it instead of seeing it as temporary. I live with my parents and my grandparents, so I've felt that my relationship with them has grown. So I think that adapting to this and just taking advantage of the time, because I don't think I'm ever gonna have a time where I can, consistently cook with my grandma or, play pool with my dad. So I think just accepting things for how they are and taking advantage of opportunities that otherwise wouldn't be there. It's how to not get sad.
Great perspective, huh? And we thank them for that perspective. And we will get through this. As we say goodbye, we'll leave you with one more look at resources to help you navigate this school year. I'm Curtis Fuller. Have a nice day.